I'm going to call the meeting to order. We will start with a roll call of the board members.
Mr. Zollinger,
Here.
Ms. Boykin, here. Mr. Streb, Mr. Lemuel,
Here.
Ms. Clevenger, here.
Okay, a quorum of the board is present, 4 out of 5 members. I would like to let everyone know that whatever we vote on today, it'll take 3 out of 4 of us for any motion to pass, even though there's 4 of us present. It takes a majority of the board, which is at least 3 people, no matter how many people are present. So I think that matters. It just takes a majority. So with that, we'll go to the next agenda item, which is the June 28th, 2022 minutes that need approval. I'll accept a motion to approve. I'll move to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
And we'll do a roll call vote for approval of the minutes.
Mr. Lemuel,
Aye.
Ms. Clevenger,
Abstain.
Ms. Boykin, Mr. Zollinger.
Approved. The minutes are approved. Now we will go to the agenda portion of the hearing. And we'll go ahead and call off the first application.
Application number 22 NC ZBOA-0003, Michael DeSantis, 1639 Ambler, AMB Avenue, Southwest, North Canton, Ohio, 44720. A variance request to exceed the 15-foot maximum accessory structure height as per NCO section 1133.06 parent B for a detached 3-car garage with storage and the trusses above. The requested building height as per NCO section 1125 parent B parent 47 is 18 foot - 10 inches.
Okay, thanks. How this works, if you haven't been here before, is make sure I can see everybody. What we do is we have the person who would like to speak in favor, or any person to speak in favor of an application, to go to the podium back there and present your case, or what you want to do and why you want to do it. And then anyone who wants to speak against an application who might be here or has a commentary will be free to get up as well. What you might not have noticed is there's a court reporter over there taking down everything we say. She will put you under oath if you are going to speak. So if you think you're going to speak, or just maybe you're not sure, what I'd ask you to do right now is to please stand up and raise your right hand. Stand up if you can and raise your right hand. If you can't stand, you can sit and raise your right hand. Face the court reporter and she'll swear you in. When she gets a chance.
Each of you the testimony we're about to give in this cause will be true.
Yeah, I do.
I can't see.
There's just me.
Okay, thank you. One other housekeeping note is you're going to have a chance to speak, and then you're going to field probably some questions from us, especially me, because I like to ask questions, because I want to understand what's happening. But it's important we not talk over one another. It makes her job a lot easier. Also, make sure any responses you give are yes, no, I don't know, or an explanation. Make sure, avoid shaking of the head, nodding, It makes her job harder when you do that. You'll have every opportunity to speak, so it's important we not talk over one another. And with me in particular, I do like to ask questions. I'm not trying to argue or be confrontational or give you a hard time. That's just how I find out information. I went to law school. It can't be helped at this point. So that's why I do that. I just want to make sure you understand. I'm trying to help and I'm trying to understand. So with that, for the first application, the DeSantis application, we'll let whoever wants to get up and speak in favor of that. Go ahead and start, sir, by when you get to the podium, announce your name and your address for the court reporter and for the record.
Mike DeSantis, 1639 Ambler Avenue, Southwest, North Canton. Thank you for getting us in this evening. I'm the owner of the home that is proposing to have my garage built. It's gonna be a 3-car garage, and as you know, it's, over the ordinance, it's 18, almost not over 15. It's 15 is what's asked, and 18 is what I'm attempting to ask you for approval for. Some of the reasons for this being as large as it is for storage and intended workspace. I've got a large truck, I've got an SUV, I've got possibly a camper, and various other large items, a tractor, trailer, not a trailer as in a, what you would think is a tractor trailer, but a large trailer. So I need a little bit of extra space. I would like to have these items secured, and I'd like to have them in a dry spot because they're expensive. I'm also looking for storage for family items, large family items for family decorations, household things. We've got decorations literally for every holiday that you may know or may not know. I've got a 7-foot Santa that I always put out that I needed a little extra space for. Our garage leaks because we get water from the top of the hill that comes down. Short-term solutions were offered, and that's all they were short-term solutions. Long-term solutions would be very expensive for me. As I live on a hill, I can't easily do things. So with the space I have, I want to be able to utilize it the best that I can. Storage. This is going to avoid having to pay storage fees for some things. I don't want to pay storage fees. They're very expensive. And if I granted this will assist me to not have to do that. As far as the upstairs goes, and that's what's asking for the larger trusses. This is also intended workspace. There'll be a lot of work that I'll be doing, either with woodwork, with larger things. I'll do welding that I need extra space for. I'll be maybe working on my motorcycle, for example. So a little bit of extra space is really all I'm asking for here. I'm asking that you would give this objective consideration and allow me to make good use of my property and my structure. My property sits off the roadway about 200 feet. The roof itself, compared to my home, is very, very close size and proximity. And I wanted to match the aesthetics of my home. And if approved to do so, this building will have windows, it will have doors, it will have lights, it will have siding on it to make it look as aesthetically pleasable, not only for my family and I, but for the neighborhood as well. The garage is sort of back behind my home. It's hidden, and it's not going to, in my opinion, impact anyone in the community or my neighborhood. I've got a neighborhood, fellow neighbor here this evening, Ms. Patton, that lives down the street from me. They would attest to that. I have talked to other neighbors in my neighborhood that were also very much in favor of this. I understand the spirit and the intent of the ordinance, and I'm not attempting to be somebody that I'm not. I merely want you to look at this responsibly and allow me to be able to confirm and get my project done as intended. Thank you. I do have some pictures if you would like to review those, Mr. Chairman.
I believe we were provided, I believe we were provided a number of pictures of the drawings.
You weren't, okay. I've got pictures of my lot and for perspective on where the garage would sit. If you'd like to look at those, I can share them with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking a look at those.
Certainly. Is it okay to approach?
Oh, yeah. We just had, I had trouble seeing, I drove by your property and I had trouble seeing in there because of the trees.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Those
Pictures right there will hopefully, yes, sir. Those pictures will hopefully give you a little bit of perspective on how far I live off of the property, or how far I live off of the road, and the, how the property sits and where the garage will be. What you're looking at right now is my garage that was destroyed back in May when we had a big thunderstorm.
Mhm.
Since May, I haven't had a secure garage. It's been very wet in there. I'm starting to lose things, so winter is coming up very quickly, and I really am not getting, I'm running out of time to
Okay.
make sure that things are taken care of the proper way. I think that, I would hope anyway that you would agree with that.
Yeah,
Say thank you.
you know, I don't really have too many questions. This board is kind of like a court in a way. We have precedent. We have decisions we've made in the past, and we've approved something like this, similar to this in the past. There was an August, for the record, on August 25th, 2020 hearing. It involved a property on Schneider where somebody wanted to have their garage, a 20-foot garage, and we approved it because it was set back. It was similar to yours. It didn't seem to be it wasn't imposing on the street. The big thing was it didn't impact city services in any way. And I don't know if anybody from the city has any comment on this being different. But I personally don't have a problem with the garage itself. I will tell you, your driveway is stone, right? It's not paved?
It's cinder. It's
Okay.
It's not paved or concrete.
That's not a decision we don't have to make a decision on that today. That's not in front of us, but I will tell you that there is an ordinance that requires driveways to be paved when you make improvements like this. So you might have an issue, that's not for us to decide today. Even if we grant the variance on the garage, you might have a situation with your driveway where the city you might need a variance for that. So just be aware of that.
Thank you. Mr. Van Gundy did a couple of minutes before all this started.
Yep.
It's a little tough.
Well, I'll tell you,
I live 200 feet off the road. That's a lot to ask.
Yeah. Well, I'm just telling you, that's not something we have to decide. The garage itself, though, to me, it's not a large percentage increase in the height. We've approved this in the past in similar situations. So I don't know if anybody else has any questions or comments from the city or the board.
I'm just confused about one thing. On the front application, it says that the structure will be 25 feet high.
Yes.
Did you, and then it says it's going to be 18 feet, 10 inches. Did you change?
That's measured from the side walls that are going to be 12 feet and half of the pitch. That
Okay.
would come up to 18. Mr. Van Gundy and I discussed this.
Yeah, the way they measure the height is like an average of like some sort of average out is how they measure the height of the garage, right? So,
It is. There is a definition in the ordinance that can be found in 1125.02, parent B, parent 25, and essentially for peaked roofs, it's the median height from the eave to the top of the roof. So the 25-foot, assuming that's approximate, would be reasonable based on the proposed, I believe it was a gable roof, which does give that peaked roof.
Yeah, okay. All right, does anybody else have any questions? Go ahead.
One question. I think you made it clear that it's going to be personal storage and maybe a hobby or two.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to clarify that you're not in any way going to conduct a business.
Absolutely not. And I want the board to be very clear about that. This isn't going to be a commercial endeavor in any way. This is going to be my son and I out maybe working on his car or working on our motorcycles. So some room, extra room for us to work. No, by no means will this be a commercial.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Are there any other issues like setback? There's no problems with any setback rule or anything like that, right? Or the size of square footage?
No, this is a large parcel. According to the auditor's website, it's 1.62 acres. The size of the detached structure is dependent on the size. I believe it was 25%. This structure did not encroach on that 25%. As far as the physical setbacks to the property lines, the proposed met the setbacks as required in 113308.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
I don't have any.
Okay, well, if there, I'll let anybody else want to speak in favor of the application. Anybody else want to have anything to say, or anybody else have any comments opposed to the application or anything like that?
I'm in favor of it. That's why I'm here.
Leanne, why don't you just stand up real quick and just give your name to the court reporter? If you,
My name is Pat Headley, Pedley. I'm a neighbor. We've been neighbors for I don't know how many years. And it's a nice little street, and all of these houses are basically have quite a bit of property too.
okay. All right, thank you.
Anyway,
Okay, well, like I said, I don't have a problem with this because it's a big lot and we've ruled in favor of something like this before. It doesn't impact city services. It's a unique enough situation, and I'm okay with approving the variance for the garage itself. The driveways, and that's going to have to be dealt with later. So I'll make a motion to approve the variance as submitted.
I'll second.
Okay, well, call the roll then, please.
Ms. Boykin? Approved. Mr. Zellinger?
Approve.
Ms. Clevenger? Approved. Mr. Lemon?
Okay, thank you. The variance is granted on the garage.
May I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
Will the approval of the variance now, may I go through with planning for the garage to be built, or do I have to have the variance for the driveway approved before I can proceed?
You'll have to talk to Mr. Van Gundy about that. I'm not sure exactly what the procedure is. So I'd suggest after the meeting that you speak with him and the people of the city about that, because we don't know the answer to that. I don't know. Yeah. Yep.
I'd like to thank you all for.
Thank you very much.
This evening.
Okay, now we'll move to the next item on the agenda. Go ahead and call it out.
Application number 22 NC ZBOA-0004, Roger and Christina Taylor, 1043 East Maple Street, North Canton, Ohio, 44720. A variance request to extend gravel driveway for a new detached garage conditionally approved under permit 22 NCR-0223.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so whoever would like to speak in favor of the application can go ahead and
Do you
take
want
the
us
podium.
both up there, and we both speak, or one at a time?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, if you're both going to speak like at the same time, or
Oh, no,
this probably makes it's just fine. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Christina Taylor, and my address is 1073 East Maple Street. Thank you for allowing us to share our thoughts, and we appreciate your consideration. Our home was built in 1929 by the Marquardt family, and we have lived in this home for 21 years. We are asking for a variance to extend our existing gravel driveway to the 24 by 32 garage that was recently received construction approval condition that is drive. Our existing driveway is limestone with a 12-foot concrete approach to, including a sidewalk. The approach is 14 feet wide at the road. The entry length of our current driveway, and we do have some pictures that we did not submit, so you might have some somebody with and I'm talking. So the entry of our current driveway from the road is 95 feet, starting from the sidewalk to the bend of our drive. We are asking for a forward continuation of the driveway from the bend, another additional 92 feet where the entry of the proposed building will be. We are aware of similar gravel driveway requests and have observed that our case is unique in that we have a 12-foot approach from the road, and the gravel does not meet the road directly. In the 21 years we have lived at this home, we have not had an issue with gravel in the street. Our reasons for requesting this variance are for safety reasons, and the gravel is an environmentally green aspect. And also keeping with the authenticity of a gravel driveway for our 93-year-old home. I would like to expand a little bit on those points. As far as the safety aspect, we currently have 3 vehicles that are parked outside, exposing them to possible theft and weather damage. As far as safety, from a people perspective, someone potentially falling on our gravel driveway is less dangerous than falling on concrete or asphalt. There's less risk of injury. Concrete or asphalt can heave up, creating uneven surfaces and crack, causing pitting and holes that could cause a tripping hazard. And we have a couple pictures of just examples of that as far as sidewalks and the road out in front of our house. And these are concrete and asphalt surfaces that do show that they create quite a hazard, and they are not our driveway. The green aspect of a gravel driveway is the permeability of a gravel driveway allows the water to flow through our property's water table, replenishing the groundwater supplies and helping our flower gardens and our trees that are on our property, which you can see in some of those pictures. We have quite extensive flower gardens. A large amount of concrete and asphalt on our property could potentially create runoff in erode areas that overwhelm our existing gardens and damage them. Our gravel driveway extension can be easily installed and driven on immediately, it's flexible and provides far more natural finish other than hard surfaces like concrete or asphalt. As far as the driveway being driven on immediately, if we were granted a gravel variance, my husband will speak on that, but we are finding that any contractors that offer concrete and asphalt, they are booked well into the beginning of summer next year. And as far as the authenticity of keeping the gravel driveway, as you can see in those pictures, that where we are asking to extend the driveway, it really can't be necessarily seen from the road, and it is 95 feet away from the gravel driveway that we do, from the road. A complete gravel driveway is true to the character and charm of our home. We'd like to stay consistent with anything that we've done to the property, as far as reflecting that beauty and character of our home. Our gravel driveway is consistently maintained, free of debris and weeds, and the new gravel extension would be cared for the same way. Thank you for those, allowing me to speak.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Mr. Taylor, you're gonna,
Yeah, I was just gonna say a few words. Along with what my wife said, as far as the driveways, we've been trying to be compliant, I guess, with the ordinance and getting estimates on concrete drive or asphalt. We are finding, as she said, that not till next year, May, June, or even if they even call us back to even give us an estimate. So we're running into that. The building itself, as far as the concrete floor and that, they can squeeze us in. It's the driveway part. So, I mean, I guess even if we did have the building built, that would be, we'd have to wait till, I guess, next year or wait till it get approved again, if that's how they want to proceed before we get the driveway. And I'm not opposed to paving it. That's not what but we just can't get it done. It's not feasibly possible right now. People are telling us we can't get you in or not back. I think I'm up to like 5 or 6 months, knowing that they have to be approved by the city of North Canton. And some of those, like I said, are not even calling them back. We do have a couple that are going to give estimates, but again, not till June. Be able to be free. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say.
Well, the same, the same precedent, when I was talking about precedent with the prior case, the same application from August 25th, 2020, involved the same home. We granted the variance for the garage, and then they wanted to keep the driveway gravel, and we said no. I will tell you though, and I can't speak for the city. I'm not a decision maker for the city government on this, but I do know that the garage was built and there was some time lag between that and the driveway becoming concrete. So I'm guessing there was some flexibility there and like, okay, you're gonna get it done by a certain date or whatever. If you work, maybe the city will work with you on that. But and they'll let you build what you need to build and then come in later and put concrete or pavement in there. I got one question I have, Mr. Mangoni, is this extension, would it be considered driveway under the definition of the ordinance? I'm guessing it would because it's connected to the driveway.
We have made that determination that it does meet the definition of driveway. If I may also speak to the timing portion of it, by ordinance and the state of Ohio residential building code, you have 1 year to complete the construction, and you're also entitled to up to 6-month extensions. So there is time built into the permitting process that would allow for some of the construction delays. And particularly since COVID, we've been even more flexible and fairly liberal with those extensions to accommodate some of the construction delays we've had. So you do have options as far as that goes.
And I can tell you I've sat on the board in those other decisions, and I'll explain to you why we've said no before. It's the city services aspect of it. I appreciate what you're saying about the environmental, why this might be better environmentally, but the reason we ruled the way we did before was the fact that stone and gravel driveways, not yours in particular, but in general, do tend to get out into the street and get into city sewers and storm sewers and things like that, and it does place a burden on city services. So in general, and that's why council, I believe that's why council enacted this ordinance, and most municipalities now have this in their ordinance, is because of that. That's one of the big reasons. And so what this board has said, well, in this particular instance, we don't feel right taking what elected officials have put in place and changing that. Because that's when you ask for a variance, that's what you're asking. We're not elected officials. We're appointed volunteers who live in the city. But council has decided not, to require this for what the board felt was a pretty good reason. So absent some really unique circumstance, like there's an underground utility issue that would prevent pavement from going in there, or contours or something like that, cost is not in length of the driveway is not something we are allowed to consider under the law. But something that makes it impracticable otherwise would be something we could consider. I'm very familiar with your house, which I think is a beautiful house, and that stretch of road. And I know that there are other gravel driveways there. Most of them are not. Most are concrete or paved now in some of the older houses, but there are some gravel ones that were probably put in before this ordinance that we have now was enacted. This is not something, it hasn't always been like this. So anytime anybody does an improvement to their property, though, and they have a gravel driveway, we're running into this situation. And I know I can think of at least one other instance where we said no to somebody who had a gravel driveway, or we were hesitant and they might have dismissed it. I'm not sure, but that's the reasoning behind it. So I don't know if anybody else has anything else to say or any other questions. Do you guys have anything else? Go
I
ahead.
do have to ask one question. It's similar to, because I talked to Roger Miller, who did the zoning for the building, and I asked him that, I said, you know, as far as being able to, because we're having trouble getting contractors to start the building, or does it have to be, does the driveway, I guess, have to be in before the building is constructed? Couple contractors I talked to, they also said if they have you do that first, it could be, your cost could go up, obviously, because they have to be careful how they receive the materials.
I mean,
So I serve as the chief building official for the city, so all of those requests would come across my desk. One thing I'll note, in the plan review, there is a note, as you know, for the driveway. Effectively, all you really need to do is update your plans to reflect that you are doing a code compliant driveway, concrete or asphalt. And you're free to proceed with the construction. The driveway just needs to be done before you do the final inspection. So that's not the case where the driveway would hold up your construction.
I mean, I'm just saying this as a citizen, not as a city official. There was a house built near my house recently, and I mean, it must have taken, everything was done but the driveway. You could tell they were having the same problem you were. I mean, they must have waited. It must have been months. I was starting to wonder, you know, did anybody approve this? Why isn't that paved? And it was just, I think they were having trouble getting somebody to come out. And the whole house was built. So I imagine there'd be some flexibility with the city there, in light of what's been happening.
So it's just a matter of resubmitting paper work.
That's correct.
Mr. Diorio.
Yes, thank you. Chair Patrick Diorio, Director of Administration for the City of North Canton. And we would be in a favorable position using the existing codes to grant this period of time to build the driveway, the extensions necessary, the complications from the global supply chain and all that. But I just want to make sure, and I know the board is aware, but perhaps, you know, those here may not be aware, that it is a requirement that it be done, and that if you build this and you think, well, now I got it in, how are they going to do? Well, the city has gone to court and has compelled the building to be taken down. It was put up. So as the administrator for the city, it's my job to execute the laws that the council passes, and that is one that they firmly believe in. We spent an entire summer there this year expending resources, documenting every gravel driveway in the city, and working on a determination of those that pre-existed the 2003 ordinance, and then those that come after. And we've seen that there's been a lot of activity of just individuals putting up the gravel driveway without checking. And we appreciate Taylor's going through all these efforts, and we work, you know, very hard with them to try to give them the necessary time they need.
Yes.
My question is, concrete and asphalt are the only alternatives? There are some permeable types of driveways. We have a little cottage up in Lakeside on Lake Erie, and so you have to have a permeable driveway there. You can't have a concrete or asphalt.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if is that a possibility, or does the city only consider concrete and asphalt?
So we have not had any alternate methods submitted that were approved. It really has been asphalt or concrete are the most common materials that have been submitted. The code does have provision in there or similar surface as approved by the city engineer.
Okay.
So, you know, applicants are welcome to submit cut sheets information to the city engineer for that type of determination.
Any other questions?
We had actually made a request for a different situation, but it was to the city engineer, but it was not, it was, I guess it was a green aspect, but it wasn't, there still was gravel involved. It was more of like a grid, it gets pressed in.
Yeah.
And
What true grade pavers?
I guess I mean, the ordinance says it has to be paved, so I guess it's whatever paved means to them.
Yeah, we looked at that because it did say pavers in the system, takes the gravel and you use these like, looks like a honeycomb type, Lego type system.
Yeah,
And it's put down and then the gravel over it and it's compacted and it, has sustainability and the company backs that it's 0% runoff. I believe that they communicated that. Because we really don't want a parking lot on a property.
Yeah.
More or less. I would like to just submit these just because, I feel like they are pictures of, sidewalks and, the roadway in front of our property. And those areas are, concrete and asphalt, and you can see that they are eroded, so.
or the sidewalk area.
Yeah, quite a
Yeah.
bit, like of a safety hazard, not only for vehicles passing by, but also running.
You're talking to somebody that's run on the sidewalk a lot, so I know in the dark, which is not smart. So I know what you mean. That stretch there is pretty,
they have filled some of them, which is kind of funny because they've done 3 or 4 and then
yeah.
and then they didn't do their rest. So I don't-
Yeah, I think sidewalks are expensive, I guess. I mean, I know what you're talking, exactly what you're talking about. Right, anything else?
May I speak?
Yes, are you both done? Or you have anything else? Okay.
Thank
I
you.
don't.
Yes, ma'am, but you stand, if you can stand up and go to the podium and make sure you announce your name to the court reporter.
My name is Bonnie T. Longer. I live at 1042 East Maple. I live directly across the street from the Taylors. I have lived at that house off and on my entire life. I was gone during my career, but I was born and raised at 1042. I am thrilled that the Taylors have kept the authenticity of that Markward house. Harry Markward, an employee of the Hoover Company, built that house, as did the house next door, was built by his brother Ralph. And I am thrilled that they are keeping the authenticity of that house with the gravel driveway. As you can see, I walk with a cane. I walk back their driveway. There's no problem walking on the gravel. And as far as seeing the gravel driveway, I see it about halfway back and then I lose sight of it because first of all, I'm not tall to see all the way back, but I only see about halfway back the driveway. And if you're talking about gravel winding up on the road, you must realize that East Maple has construction vehicles on it with the building of the new Claremont School. There will be plenty of gravel being drug up onto their apron. But when Roger cuts the grass, he not only blows the grass and debris from the lawn cutting, but he also blows the gravel off the driveway, and off the sidewalk and the apron. It's very well taken care of. There's no grass, there's no weed, there never has been. So I just want the board to know that as far as the gravel driveway, I, as a neighbor, see nothing wrong.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? Yes,
I didn't swear it, but can I?
yeah, go ahead. She'll have her, she'll swear you in real quick. Go ahead and say your name.
I'm Cecily Taylor, C-E-C-I-L-Y, and I live at 1043. So I just wanted to speak on the delay of the concrete being put in. I just recently moved home from college, which was unexpected moving home. I thought I was going to move into an apartment and not even bother them and come back. So now with me coming back, we have an extra car in the driveway. I don't know if any of you have seen our driveway in the back, but for someone who's not familiar with our driveway, it's very hard to turn around, and many people get freaked out turning around in our driveway and have a hard time. So speaking on putting up the building and then not being able to pave back there to even drive a car in the building, well, now we have my car and then 2 other cars in the driveway for people to be turning in, turning around, using our driveway, and we can't even use the garage that's put up because you don't want to drive on muddy grass or snow in the winter to go put a car in the new garage. So, you know, bringing gravel is obviously much quicker than paving, and allowing us to use this. So I just want, that to be put into the notes, or, to be recognized with the fact that we put up this building, okay, we can use it as this extra garage, but you really can't, because you can't drive into the grass if it's rained, or if it's muddy, or if it's snowing, to go put a car in there. So I think looking into that aspect of it is also something that should be considered, because you're then just, you put up this building to have the 3 cars then sit out again, throughout the winter and everything, and make it even more difficult to turn around everything. So although I know they're willing to comply with the, cement being put up, I think, well, it just doesn't make sense to kind of wait that out and not be able to use the garage that we're putting up to store those other cars. So, yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
How long is the new extension? How long is the new extension?
I know it's probably in here.
At 92 feet, I believe, is what we're.
To your point, it does sit very far back, so it's hard to kind of gauge.
Okay, yeah, well, you know, I mean, and this is just me talking, I'm not speaking for the entire board, every board member has to make their own vote. I mean, we've had precedent on this, and if we go against that, then we are opening up a situation where every time somebody requests something like this, we're gonna have a problem, and we're gonna be basically taking a law that the city council passed and rendering it just ineffective or not enforceable. And that's something we have to be careful of as a board. I understand the situation. I love the house. I owned a house that old. I understand the garages. These garages were built at a time where people might have 1 car, and it was a lot smaller than the ones we are driving now. And I understand the situation. I guess I would, you know, I'm going to make a motion to deny the variance, and we'll see what everybody else thinks. If the variance is denied, I'm hoping that you all would be able, the city would work with you on maybe some temporary gravel with the new garage while you are able to line up a contractor, and you can work something out. That's what I'm hoping happens. I don't think you don't seem to me at all to be the type of people that would just put up a garage and then pretend that, oh, nothing happened. I think I know you would comply with it. So I'm going to make a motion based on all that and everything we've said. I'm going to make a motion to deny this particular variance. And I don't know if there's a second.
Second.
Okay, we'll do a call the roll. Approve. If we say approve, that means we're voting in favor of a denial of variance.
Ms. Clevenger?
I didn't want to be first. I'll approve.
Mr. Lemuel?
Approved?
Ms. Boykin?
Approve.
Mr. Zollinger?
Approve. So the variance is denied. I hope that this can be worked out, though. Just
Can I say one thing?
yeah.
I also live on Rose Lane with the whole historic, and I always pride your house. I grew up back there. I would also hope that we can work something out with another hardscape of something. If there's another permeable solution to that to keep that integrity, yeah, I'm sure we can work for that extension. I also am looking for, I have to have a spot put down. So I'll probably be in front of our own board next year, just because the way our house is set up and where we sit. But yeah, explore those solutions that we can work out with the city. If there is something, I would love to see something else go on.
Okay. Anything else? Are there any other items to come before the board? Any other agenda items? I don't have anything on the agenda. Does anybody have anything else that needs to be discussed, or? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second. We'll do a voice vote for that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.